I clicked the button that said advanced search, which
Okay.
brought me here. But if you want to go back to the screen we were, you would hit simple search, which is just
Okay.
kind of
So
like where you're getting overwhelmed, right?
yeah.
So
Yes.
here, you can go through here and look at what you want to look at, right? And you can start with everything and then see, okay?
Okay.
Now, right here, I would click journals first
Okay.
because they're just typically journals are easier to print than books. And
Mhm.
so, or easier to get out digitally even than books.
Mhm.
And so they're going to be more up to date. For
Okay.
example, a
Okay. I see what
lot
you're
of the
saying.
professional journals either have a monthly or quarterly that they keep up with, right?
Okay,
Okay.
that's good because that was another thing when I would find something didn't I'm unsure like how recent the information needs to be. And I know we talked about that a little bit, but still.
Yes, you definitely want to change it to where you're looking for something in English because,
That's
I mean,
helpful.
research happens all over the world.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, you can put that you don't want anything, you can put that you don't want anything older than, right, a certain time. So let's see, I would say like 2015. I mean,
Okay.
and then end year. Okay, I put this year. You can see I hit search, but it says no records found because I forgot to put anything in here, right? Okay, so what do you want to search for? Like school boards and finances, or I'm just going to make something up if that's
So,
okay.
okay. Yep.
Or you can tell me something.
I mean, the first thing I guess I'm going to have to research is going to be the looking at the purpose of a school board, which is so
Okay.
general, so broad, I feel like.
I'm going to put purpose of a public school board. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Mhm.
because the more specific, right? And then if you have you can add something else. So is there something else that you want to make? We don't have to. We don't have to do that yet. Let's just hit search
Okay.
and let's see what happens. Okay, let me see. Maybe I need to sign in. I think this is so amazing that I haven't had to go to the digital library in so long. I had to sign in. I love it.
I'm sure you lived on there.
Okay. Okay. So this is telling me I have 2,214 results, right? And look,
Okay.
here's some stuff that talks about Ontario. Here's Arkansas, right? So, I mean, you
Mhm.
can kind of look through there and think, oh, okay, let me fix this. And so you can go back to here and write um, United States or Arkansas if you wanted to. But the reason I'm putting United States is I saw Ontario right there, right? And I was
Okay.
like, oh, let me define that and let's see what happens. So that took our results in half. See,
Okay.
we just halved our results. So that helped. Um, so then you could just start looking through here, but there's a lot of things that aren't related to a school board. So I'm going to take my purpose off right here. See, this is what I'm saying. You're just going to play with it.
Okay.
Public school board and United States. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to break this down a little bit. I'm going to say school board and United States. I'm going to add a new line and put public schools. And I'm going to put purpose. Okay. Now I'm going to change my year since there's so much stuff out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to change this to 2020. Okay, now you're down to 398 results.
Okay.
And you could just start looking through these and see if there's anything that you like. And you can like pin it just like you pin stuff, on your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just pin it that you want to look at it later. See? And then it's going to be right up there.
Okay.
So like if you're going through these 300 and you're just like, oh, right? The other thing you want to look at that I would suggest, you see right here where it says peer reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Peer reviewed journal articles are more credible because
Okay.
they've had a group of professionals in that area go through the research and make sure all the stats and the research methods were done correctly.
So when I was here and I clicked on some, I was also having trouble finding like the actual article or journal or whatever it was.
Good. Thank you for telling
I
me
couldn't
that.
figure out like where it was, and so I just would get off of it.
Okay, thank you for telling me that because that I need to know, right? Okay, so electoral competition in American school board elections. Okay, I'm gonna click on that. It says it's peer reviewed. It says it's available online, so I'm gonna click on it. Okay, so this, you're gonna get to see the details in the description, which is like the abstract, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to see the whole thing, you're going to go right here, view record in UARK. Now, sometimes, okay, let me see what happens if I do it this way. Okay, so there it is. Sometimes, just like you have to go through stuff, right?
Right. Okay. That no wonder I didn't see it. That button is so small.
It is.
Oh, it
Okay.
was okay.
And
So
see, I'm having to click this multiple times, but hopefully we'll get there. Okay, so this is, what Allison said was the abstract is to keep people who are doing research from losing their minds, right? And
right.
that's because you can read right here their purpose here and what their findings were. And you can decide, hey, is this what I'm even looking for or not? Um, so here you can download it. I'm still playing. Here it is, I think. Yep. Okay, so there's the actual journal article. And you can save them in a folder somewhere or things like that. Don't Let me go back here because this is going to be so tempting and you're going to want to. There's a button right here that says citation.
Uh-huh.
And when you click it, it'll bring up the citation for that sometimes. And you're going to want to just like copy and paste that into your paper, right? But it will not be
Sounds
right.
nice. Okay.
It will not be correct. There's always mistakes when they do it electronically. So you've got to still look at your APA manual online or physically, whichever you do.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That is super, super helpful. I wish I would have asked a long time ago. That kind of leads into my next question.
Okay.
And this is actually two questions in one, I think.
Okay.
So I can't remember why I was going to ask this. So on this database, there are, actually, let me ask this one. So there were some sources that I would open, and it seemed like the whole source, they were just citing other sources.
Mm.
Like, like it was almost like every sentence they got from somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
that means
if
that you were looking at a literature review, most likely, which is fine.
But
Um,
how do you, if I have it, so if I open an article and or a journal or a book, and there's a piece of text that I think will like support what I'm trying to say,
mhm.
but in that source, the author of that source cited a different source for that information. Who do I cite there? Do I cite the original, like, or does that, am I making sense? Does that make
I'm
sense?
trying to pull it up so I can look at one real quick so I could give you
Okay.
an example. Okay, so I was trying to get the one we just had. Let's see, there we go. Let me share again. See if I can make this bigger. Okay, so the beginning of any research paper is going to start with a review of the literature. And that's just, I had a librarian one time explain it to me this way, and I thought it was really interesting that research on any given area is like a group text message. Okay.
Right.
So all these people are replying. You can't write anything until you read what everybody said,
Okay.
because you want to contribute to the conversation. You don't want to do something somebody already did. And so
Okay.
that's kind of what you're doing at the beginning. You're catching up on the group text. This is what all has been going on. This is why this is needed, and they're explaining it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what all of this is. Okay, then you get to this part where they're starting to think about what their hypotheses will be in this, but they're linking it to, they're not just saying, I thought of this out of my head, right?
Right.
They're saying, I'm linking this to research I reviewed.
Right.
So here's what I would do. The cool thing is you can click on any one of these and it'll take you to where that reference is. You can copy and paste that and a lot of times look up the original thing they're citing. So if you want to read more about it, you might end up citing the original.
Okay. So in this example, if it might be easier for me to talk about my other paper?
Well, let me say
I
this.
don't know.
Let me get
Okay.
to
Okay.
the literature review right here. Okay,
Okay.
so if you looked at this paragraph, right? This person has
Yeah.
quoted a lot of people. Well, you can cite this author and say, so and so's review of literature related to teachers' unions provided information, and you could explain it and cite this person because this person who wrote this journal has looked at a whole bunch of different research and kind of revised or summarized
It's
it.
like synthesize. Yeah.
Yes. And so you're
Okay.
giving them credit for synthesizing this
Okay.
research.
Okay. That makes sense. So just because they used others' work to form their own answer doesn't
Right.
mean you can't cite their answer or that you have to cite the others. Okay. That
But
makes
now,
sense.
if you read this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this person talked about democratic school board models, I want to look that up. And you end up going into their paper and doing more stuff, well, then you want to give them
Cite them.
credit, right?
Okay. Right.
These are such
So
good
you,
questions.
thank you. I am a question person. It's kind of a joke around here, but anyway, so there's not going to be a point in this example where you cite their citate, like whoever they are citing plus them, like it's going to be one or the other.
You can put multiple people. Let's
But
see.
okay, yeah, you say what you were going to say, and I'll see if it.
No, you go ahead. Ask your next question.
Well, so in the synthesized information example, like he has this answer because it's a synthesis of the other sources and he cited those sources.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be a point where I cite the sources that he used to synthesize plus himself, the author of this?
If you're using his synthesized work, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Mm-hmm.
making a conclusion from that, you would just
Mm-hmm.
give him the reference, right?
Okay.
But let me show you kind of what he did, and this is just an
Okay.
example. So he is comparing, for example, he says this Moe 2005, Hess and Lil 2005, they both kind of did the same thing. So he synthesized two people's work into one thing.
Okay.
Okay. Then I just saw another one that I wanted to point out. Okay, right here, where he said Grissom 2014 and Ford and whatever that is, 2014 and 2017. So he's saying these two people wrote two different studies 2 years apart, and both of them talked about this right here, what he's talking about, and this person.
Okay.
So this is how he's citing he read two things written by this person or these people.
Okay.
And he'll have both these references, here.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have both of
Okay.
them. Like
Okay.
there they are, Ford in 2015 and this Ford 2017.
Okay.
So you might use this guy's information and information you get from somewhere else.
And
Does that
make
make
my own
sense?
synthesis. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. That's the deal. Now, if you use his words or any portion of his words or even a couple of his words, right? You need to indicate that in quotation marks and give him credit.
Okay. So when I write this paper, this just popped into my head. There was something, I cannot remember if it was through Impact or if it was through the principalship class, or maybe it was in my book, about trying not to use direct quotes. It's better to not use direct quotes, it's better to paraphrase.
Yes,
So,
it is.
okay.
It is much better
What?
to paraphrase, but if you can't figure out how to do it, and sometimes you can't, like sometimes
Mm-hmm,
the quote is powerful and it loses its power if you paraphrase.
mm-hmm. One
Sometimes there,
situation that
yeah,
one situation that I ran into with my earlier papers was that like it was such a short piece of text and it was almost too simple or too basic an idea to put it into other words.
right. And
So,
so then you just want to make sure to, if you use that person's words, you have to give them credit.
okay. I think that I figured out how to do it, but just in case. That's very, very, very helpful. Um, I have two easy questions. So I didn't notice in the project guidance folder, I didn't notice a rubric for project one.
It's the
And
formal
unless,
academic paper rubric. That same
okay,
one goes with everyone that's a formal academic writing.
okay, that makes sense. And this is a question that one of one of my peers, we were talking about it, about, first of all, we're worried that it's cheating. Is it cheating if I use sources um, for my papers and we all have like a bank, the folder where we
Mm,
add sources that we think would be helpful. So maybe I have one source that I gathered and I liked it and I used it, and then one that would be useful, but I didn't necessarily use it, and I put it in a bank. Is that
mm-hmm.
cheating
No.
in a folder? It's
Now,
not?
if somebody chooses to take just your references and not even look at that stuff and make sure it matches, that wouldn't be, that would
Right.
be whatever. So let me show you something else. And I just found this today. So it's on Blackboard. Hit send. Okay. There is, if you go to that link that I just put in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
you could copy it
Mm-hmm.
and email it, or I can send it later after people know what we're talking about. I don't just want to send out a link without them knowing what we're talking about. But I just found this today, and it is a student. It's like a course that you sign up for, but it's an add-on to your Blackboard and it's free. And you can upload your paper to it and it will check to see if there's anything you didn't cite correctly so that it looks like plagiarism.
Okay.
Of course, you know, it's not like a proofreader, but
Right.
it's a help maybe.
Right. So don't count on it solely, but a
Yeah,
good just
do this in
extra
addition to. Yeah.
everything else. Okay. I think that was it. Writing that down. Okay.
Make sure you log in to you set up your account through your UARK email on your
For
university library.
okay.
So, like, you don't want to use your Google account to set up an account because, as a student, part of your fees is going to give you access to some of these articles that just the general
Okay.
public doesn't have access to.
Okay. I think I'm pretty sure that I did use the UA. That covers all of the questions.